blogging. And I went on and looked at more information about it. And apparently WordPress does a whole lot more than just blogging. And so I use a very minimal portion of it, and which I can come on and talk about after we watch the presentation. But
Yeah,
I was
WordPress.
amazed how complex WordPress can be as a website generator.
All right, let me find, make sure I am running the yeah, there it is. I will share my screen. Set it so it will play the audio. Let's see. And I'm going to set it to show full screen and begin.
WordPress is a leading content management system that allows anyone to build a website. Once you get your head around all the incredible features and how to navigate and use WordPress, you'll become confident in building, customizing, and managing your WordPress website completely by yourself. Hey guys, Stuart here, welcome back to this channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now in this video we're going to deep dive into a WordPress tutorial for beginners. Today's focus is to share everything you need to know about getting started with WordPress to create, customize and manage your own WordPress website. Okay, so before I teach you all the fundamentals for getting started with WordPress, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already or if you're new to this channel. And that way you'll stay updated with actionable videos and tutorials designed to equip you with the skills, knowledge and tools to help your small business thrive online. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into this WordPress tutorial designed for complete beginners. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do today is log into our WordPress dashboard. To do that, simply head over to your browser and type in your URL, your domain name, then hit /wp-admin. And that will take you to this login page. Then simply add your username and password and then click login. And that's going to log you into your WordPress website backend. And your WordPress backend is where the magic happens. Today, we're going to focus on everything you need to know to really get started with WordPress if you're looking to build your own website using WordPress.org. Now, there is a difference between WordPress.org and WordPress.com. WordPress.org requires you to sign up with a hosting provider and then you need to install WordPress.org. However, on the other side we have WordPress.com, which is basically an all-in-one website builder that allows you to simply sign up and start building your WordPress website. Everything is taken care of within WordPress.com. Now, if you're more familiar with WordPress and you're not a complete beginner and you're ready to start building your website with either WordPress.com or WordPress.org, then what I'll do is link a full WordPress.com tutorial for beginners down below in our description. So go ahead and check that out if you want to build your website with WordPress.com. However, if you're ready to build your WordPress.org website from start to finish, so from signing up with a hosting provider, buying a domain name, and then building your WordPress website, then what I'll do is link that full WordPress.org tutorial down below in the description. So go ahead and
This is an urgent warning to all investors. On April 25th, 2024, a major event is going to
check those out if you're ready to start building your website with WordPress. However, if you are a complete beginner and you just want to learn more about WordPress and how it works, then stick around. We're going to cover everything you need to know to get started with WordPress.org. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right into this tutorial. Now, if we navigate over to Dashboard, you can see that we have the WordPress dashboard selected. Now, above Dashboard, we can click Visit Site to view our website. And then if we navigate over to New, this is where we can quickly go ahead and create a post. Now, a post is a blog post, and WordPress.org is a great CMS content management system for managing and creating a blog. Then below Post, we have Media. This is where we can add media to our WordPress website. Then we have Pages. We can go ahead and create a new website page. Projects, where we can create projects. And then below Project, we have User. This is where we can add additional users to our WordPress website. Now, if we navigate back over to Dashboard, and below Dashboard, we have Updates. If we click on Updates, and as you can see, the update notification shows that we have 11 updates. Now, if we navigate over to WordPress Updates and navigate down this page, the first thing you will see is if you have any WordPress version that you can update to. So if there's any new versions of WordPress, you'll have the option to upgrade your WordPress to the newest version here. Then below that, we have plugins. Now think about plugins as additional features that you can add to your website. So these are all the plugins that we have already installed on our WordPress website, and we'll talk more about plugins shortly. Then below plugins, we have themes. And with WordPress, you have the option to select themes that you want to build your website with. So for example, at the moment, we currently have Divi installed. This is our favorite theme. The reason it's our favorite theme to use when building a WordPress website is because it's extremely easy to use, especially for beginners. Divi allows you to visually build your website from the front end rather than the back end. No experience needed and no coding required. They also offer dozens of templates that you can simply choose from and then customize the way that you like. Now, it's important to note that before you go ahead and update any of your themes, any of your plugins, or your WordPress version, you must take a backup of your website. And this is important for the security of your website. So if your website goes down, it crashes because of issues with plugins, updates, clashes between plugins and themes, then if you take a backup, at least you can just upload a new backup. Now, if you're not too sure where to start when it comes to backing up your WordPress website, then what I'll do is link a beginner's tutorial down below in the description of this video that will show you how to quickly and easily take backups of your WordPress website and then restore your WordPress website. And again, like I mentioned, all of the resources that I talk about in this video will be down in the description below. Okay, so remember, it's important to take a backup of your WordPress website before you make any updates. And now what we want to do is navigate back over to the left-hand side and locate Posts. If we click on Posts, this is where we can create our blog post. Now you have a few options when it comes to actually creating your blog posts and website pages. You can use the WordPress editor, or you can use a page builder like the Divi builder, which is what we have installed on this WordPress website, or Elementor, which is another page builder that you can install as a plugin. And these visual drag and drop builders are ideal for beginners through to advanced users. Now, if you want to learn more about building your website pages and blog posts using a visual drag and drop builder, then what I'll do is link a beginner's tutorial down below in the description that will take you through how to use the Divi builder, which is our favorite visual drag and drop page builder. And I'll also link a video tutorial on how you can get started with the page builder Elementor. These tools are both great for beginners that are looking to create stunning post pages. Okay, so what we're going to do is navigate back to our WordPress dashboard, and then what we want to do is navigate over to Media. And then if we navigate up to Add New next to Media Library, this is where you can add additional media that you want to use within your website. Or this is where you can manage all your media that you've uploaded when creating your website pages. For example, if you add a photo, embed a video, or upload a document to a website page, then you will find all your media down here. Okay, so now what we want to do is navigate over to Pages. And similar to Posts, this is where you can manage all your website pages within WordPress. You can also navigate up to Add New to create a new website page. Now, like we just explained when creating a blog post, you can choose to use the WordPress editor, or you can use a visual drag and drop builder like the Divi builder or the Elementor page builder. However, if you want to use the WordPress editor, you can simply go ahead and create your page or blog post here. So for example, if we navigate up to this plus, we can simply create our website pages by simply clicking on any of these block elements and then simply dragging and dropping those elements onto our page. So for example, if we wanted an image, all we would do is click on the image, drag the image, and drop that image in here, and then we can go ahead and upload an image. However, it can still be quite tedious using the WordPress editor, so again, I highly recommend that you use a visual drag and drop page builder like Divi or Elementor. Again, those video tutorials are down below in the description. Okay, so what we're going to do is head back to our dashboard. And then if we navigate below pages, we have comments. This is where you can manage all your comments if people are leaving comments on your blog posts. Then below comments, we have projects. This is where you can create specific projects that you want to add to your website. Below projects, we have appearances. And what we want to do is click on themes. And this is where you can manage all your different themes. You can see that we have the Divi theme activated. If you want to add an additional theme, simply navigate up to Add New and simply install a theme and then activate that theme if you want to change to a different theme. Then below theme, we have customize. If we click here, and this is where we can customize the overall look, style, and theme of our website. So for example, if we navigate down to header and navigation, and then click on primary menu bar, this is where we can customize the menu bar up here. So for example, if we scroll over to menu height and drag the menu height, we can change the size of the menu height. So I'm going to keep that at 80. And then we also have other options in terms of the spacing, the colors, and the fonts. Now, when you make any changes, make sure you click publish. And what we're going to do is head back and then back again. We can also come down to buttons and then click on buttons style. And this is where we can customize the style of all the buttons on our website. So for example, if I click and drag text size, you'll notice that the button down below gets bigger. So basically, take the time to go through all the customization options. Okay, so what I'm going to do is exit out of this and return back to our WordPress dashboard. Then below themes, we have plugins. If we click on plugins, this is where we can manage all our plugins. Now, if you want to add a new plugin, simply navigate up to plugins and then navigate over to the search bar on the far right hand side and type in the specific plugin that you want to add onto your website. Remember, plugins are additional features that you want to install on your WordPress website. For example, if I wanted to add a live chat feature onto our WordPress website, what I
Managed WordPress hosting by Hostinger. Your website will run at top speed with our CDN Lightspeed technology.
could do is type in live chat, and by simply typing in the keyword live chat, you can see that hundreds of third-party WordPress live chat plugins have been generated on the screen, and we can simply go ahead and install and then activate these live chat plugins onto our website. So if we keep scrolling down, you can see there are hundreds. Here you can see a Facebook chat plugin, live chat plugin for WordPress. This allows you to install Messenger onto your WordPress website so that your visitors can interact with you via Messenger. And no matter what feature you want to add onto your WordPress website, most likely you'll be able to find that in the form of a plugin. And most plugins offer a free plan that is sufficient for most users. Okay, so now what we're going to do is navigate over to the left-hand side and then click on Users. And this is where you can add and manage all your WordPress users. To add a new user, simply navigate up to Add New. So if you need help managing your WordPress website, it could be a developer, an SEO expert, or even an admin of your organization to manage messages, then all you need to do is click Add New, add their details, and they can then log into your WordPress website. Okay, so those are all the basic features that we wanted to cover in this WordPress tutorial for beginners. You should now be comfortable with your WordPress backend, how to navigate, use, and manage your WordPress dashboard. And there we have it, guys. That is it for this WordPress tutorial for beginners. Now, all of the video resources we mentioned in this video will be down in the description below this video. Now, if you have any questions about WordPress, make sure to pop them down below. And with that said, thank you so much for watching this video all the way through to the end. If you got value, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to this channel. And that way, I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys.
And I've stopped sharing my screen. I'd ask you to hold your questions if you have any, because Will Wakely has volunteered to talk about how he uses WordPress. Go, Will.
Okay. I discovered that WordPress is a lot more complex than I ever thought it was. I essentially use it as a essentially free personal website, and they don't charge me anything for it. But the only thing I do, I don't have all the bells and whistles in it. Many nights I'll wake up at 3 a.m. and go water the carrots or something, but then I have some crazy thought, what I call 3 a.m. musings, that I say, wow, I ought to write something about that the next day. And fortunately, I keep a voice recorder next to my bed so that I don't have to turn on lights or find a pen. And I just make a couple of comments into the voice recorder to remind me the next morning of what I want to write about. And then sometime in the next 24 hours, I'll go to Microsoft Word and write up what I call my my blog. And it's usually 1 or 2 pages, some describing something that I'm concerned about. So I wanted some place where I could store all these blogs that I have, of which I probably have, I don't know, 100 or more, and discovered WordPress. WordPress gives me a personal web page that I can populate with all kinds of things, as it showed earlier in this presentation, and make it a full-blown web page. I don't do that. I essentially just copy the blogs that I have up to that site, and people can go there and search for the various things. I don't have a search mechanism. I need to put that in there, because right now all it does is sort of show these individual blogs one at a time, and people can just run through them. But it would be good if I put up some sort of a database that showed the title and then actually what the blog is about, because the titles can be very deceiving. I make up weird titles for these things. But let me show you what people can do. If I can have a share screen.
You can share your screen, Will.
Okay. Let me go find what I want. And so usually after I have a new blog, well, that's interesting. It's not what I want. That's not at all what I want. Let me back out of this somehow.
Unshare.
Stop share and go back. Go into it. Oh, here it is. Okay, I just had the wrong one. Okay, as you can see, and everybody see this and call the
Yes.
blog invite.
Yes. Mhm.
After I write a blog, I'll usually have a list in my Gmail of all the people I want to send these blog notices to. And I just send this out and say, see my blogs at UFOWillblog@wordpress.com. And then I usually just attach the latest one so they don't have to really go there. Just since it's attached, they can just click on it. But this then brings up my site at WordPress. And it let's see if I can click on it and make it happen. Should be able to, I think. The way I can highlight this and make it happen?
Well, you could copy and paste it into a web browser, but you'll have to share your web
Yeah.
browser.
Well, I won't do that. Anyway, what it does, it just brings up a page that shows each of these blogs in a linear fashion, and there's no fancy photographs or graphics or anything. Now I can dress it up and put in all kinds of things into it because it essentially is a web page that I don't pay anything for it. It's free. It has a lot of bells and whistles built into it. You can actually go there and create your own blog. It has a built-in editor. I prefer to use the Microsoft Word and then just upload the final blog to it. And it makes it very easy to do. It's fairly intuitive, but as you saw earlier in the presentation, it gets pretty complex. If you really want to build a really fancy website, you can do that. Now, what they recommend, though, is that you set up your own website outside of WordPress, and then use WordPress just as the way to build your website and make it very fancy with all kinds of bells and whistles. I don't do that. I probably should, but I'm too lazy for it. Anyway, any questions people have? It works great if you want to. I like writing just a page or two of an idea that I have and allowing other people to go ahead and read it and see what they think. I would like to put something on there so people can leave comments to it, which it indicated that you can do if you. Oh, there we are. Okay.
I'm sharing my screen now because I went
Yeah,
in.
this is what comes up, and you just scroll down through it. See, for instance, unfortunately, I should have a second description of the title because the title doesn't tell you anything. But you don't have a whole lot of reading to do. It's usually just 1 or 2 pages at most. And, I have a lot of weird stuff on there, folks. So if you're interested in weird stuff, go see my weird stuff.
What
I call it my 3
in 2 or
a.m.
3 sentences, Will, what's the case for secrecy of about UFOs?
Oh, there are about 6 different things that these guys really had a reason for keeping it secret. That one of the main ones was you didn't want your enemies to know what technology you had. That was a major reason for keeping it quiet. And this went on for about 100 years, by the way. But there are other reasons why. They were worried about panic. They were worried about its effect upon religion. They were worried about introducing too much technology too quickly. But there's like a handful of good reasons why they want to keep it secret. But now it's being forced out. And I'm a little worried about what might happen if this gets forced out too quickly without good planning, because it can be an economic disaster. It can be a social disaster. But it's coming out, folks, so be ready for it. Sounds like crazy stuff, but there's enough evidence out there over the last 100 years that something's going on. We don't know.
David has his virtual hand up.
Yes, I did, and I'm gonna quick share as well. Yeah, there's that, but I went over to the WordPress and basically, and that's something he didn't talk about, was basically there's 3 levels. There's a free level, there's the starter one, but the thing is, other than the free level, you have to get yourself a web domain in order to host your website. And that'll cost a certain amount per year. If you don't want to do that and you want to just have your site hosted on WordPress.com like Will does, then it's free. The other thing that I saw was that Will, you do have a leave a comment button on there.
Oh, I do, yes. I didn't,
And basically, someone can go in there and just, put that in right
I
there.
don't know that anybody has ever done that for me, but, and I don't know where it shows up if they do, so,
Well, I know we could do an experiment and try one.
okay.
Could I just ask David, are you using WordPress, David?
I am not. Oh, I'm on Will's site right now.
Oh, I know that. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering what your level of knowledge was about it, because that's the presentation topic.
Yeah, that's the absolute beginner. But I just went to the site and said, it asked me for an email address and said what would I like to start up, and they start up for free, which is sort of nice if you want to do that and learn how to build web pages. But
It's a powerful site because it gives you all kinds of tools to build your own very fancy website. But I guess I'm too lazy or too old to do something like that. But I find that this free version works great for me. It allows people to go and read all these blogs. As I say, I've got 100 probably or more. I don't have all of them loaded up there. I need to do that. But I find it great. And the reply, I had forgotten that I had a reply comment there, but it seems to me maybe one person has replied one time.
Well, anyway, that's all I wanted to say was that, it's there. It's easy to get to. There's free, but if you want to have your own domain, you have to buy that.
Yeah. Barb has her hand up. Barb?
Yeah, I found the initial presentation very confusing because they didn't come up with any examples of what they had done. I find Will's presentation was good. And do you just tell your friends to go check it out, Will, or what? I mean,
Well, I showed earlier the email that I send out to my blog friends. What it does is give them a link that they just need to click on. It takes them there directly,
okay.
and they can read through all the blogs. Now, I do need to put some sort of a index up there so that people can search for the particular blog they want. And I have not done that, and I'm thinking about how to do it.
Okay, have you searched other people's blogs? I mean, can you go on there and make a selection of something you want to look at?
Only if I build an index to look into my blogs. I don't know about other people's blogs. They use this what they call blogging, a little different from what I do.
Okay,
There's a lot of marketing that's done through what they call blogging.
right.
I'm not.
Well, I think you could build a very simple system to let people wander around on your blog by using buttons. You just put
Yes.
a place with a whole bunch of buttons, and each button has a title, has the heading of each section of your blog, and that would show you all the titles, and you can pick one anywhere in there and go there easily, because all the button is going to do is scroll
Scroll down.
the blog to that spot.
Yeah. Good suggestion. Okay.
Anyway, it's a way that I use to, just put out what I'm thinking about for my friends to read and for them to decide how crazy I am. Saul?
Just a couple of things. One, so you create Word documents. Are you just posting the Word documents onto the WordPress website?
The
as
WordPress,
a link for somebody to go to? Or, I mean, because you have the content of the word. Are you copying and pasting the word into WordPress?
yes,
Okay.
they have a feature where you can just upload a document.
So you're uploading it and it comes out rendering as if it's part of a web page.
Correct. They have their own word processor, but you know, you have to learn their word processor. I'm happy with Microsoft Word, so I just generate it there and then just copy and paste it, you know.
Okay, and the other comment is less about WordPress, but you're showing an email message where you had a link to your website to notify people that there's an update. When you put a link in the Word document or the email message, I guess if it's a Word document, whatever it is, are you making that a hyperlink? So when people click on it like you were trying to do and it wasn't working, you should make that a hyperlink if your
It is
email
a
program doesn't automatically do that for you.
No,
To
it
make it
is a
easy.
hyperlink. It just didn't show up on what I showed, but I
Yeah,
think
it's not so much the appearance, it's the fact that it didn't seem to be functioning when you were clicking on it.
it didn't for me, but it seemed to work for a couple other people. It worked for David and it worked for Hank.
I actually just cut and paste that. I basically I just typed it into my browser since I can't click it on your screen as it's showing. So I had to just type it in, but it worked just fine.
Yeah. Hank?
I want to comment on the presentation difference between WordPress.org and WordPress.com. I built a website years and years ago. I didn't use WordPress. I used GoDaddy, and GoDaddy doesn't have an org and a com. But what you need to have a website, which was covered he said it once, but he didn't go into any detail. You need a domain name, like, my domain name was visitprinceville.com because I was advertising a vacation rental. And so you have to buy that. You have to find out if it's available and buy it. Then you need a host for your website, and that host will take anyone who types in visitprinceville.com into their browser. It will take them to the website that you have built using WordPress or using GoDaddy and post that website on their browser. And that whole process is what you get if you use WordPress.com. You get the whole thing. He talked about using WordPress.org, and for that, you have to have someone else other than WordPress host your website. Someone else actually has to spend the time and money, and that means you need to pay them to put up your website on that particular domain name.
Yeah,
It's
I
probably
use it
more
'cause it's
confusing than I should than if I hadn't started, but that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
I would say if you're interested in building a website, use WordPress. It walks you through it. In fact, if you go onto YouTube, there are dozens of, maybe not dozens, but many presentations of how to build a website using WordPress or other programs too.
And I want to say once again that on the Seniors Computer Group website, under events, there are 3 more tutorials on how to use WordPress that you can play if you didn't like the one that was up today. Excuse me.
I went on YouTube and saw dozens of things on how to generate your own web page, and uh, I'm happy not to have to do that.
And I just want to thank David for pointing out the 3 plans, which clarified what's free and what is not free and what you get for it.
Okay. Do we have any more discussions about WordPress or about Will's presentation or
Let
something
me,
that we've
any of
already
you
talked
want to
about?
let me know if you're interested in reading my blogs, and just shoot me an email and I'll put you on the blog lists of people to receive notifications of new blogs.
So, Hank, I was just wondering, what tools do you use to edit our website? Earth to Hank, Earth to Hank.
Somebody asking me a question?
Yes, Hank, we've been looking at WordPress as a way of building websites. I was wondering what tools you use to build our seniors computer group website.
GoDaddy.
And does it have a website builder and editor similar to what they showed in WordPress?
GoDaddy is a place like WordPress. It
Okay,
allows you to build a website, and it also hosts websites. And having built one for my vacation rental years ago, it wasn't very hard to do it for the seniors computer group.
Yeah, because I just remember GoDaddy as a place that would sell you a domain, and then you would use some other tool, whether it was WordPress or Wix or something else to build and maintain the site. But apparently they have their own set of tools as well.
They do, David. They are a
Okay.
domain name registrar, which is where you go to buy domain names. They're about $21 a year. Okay. And then they also provide hosting services, and they also provide their built-in tools similar to what WordPress would do to create and maintain a website.
Okay, I didn't know they did those other two.
Dan?
Yes, if you build a website using this program, will it work on all browsers?
Don't know.
I think so. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but it seems to me that if they want to be ubiquitous, if they want to be profitable, what they put out has to work on all websites. I mean, on all browsers.
Ross, you have a website. What do you use to, you don't have a website? Does anybody on here have a website that they maintain?
One of the things I think of is that with those tools that automatically build the website, they've probably made those tools so that they build stuff that is pretty compatible cross sites and cross vendors and cross browsers and things like that. And that's probably one of the things that it's a benefit that you get is better cross site than if you tried to cobble it yourself with an HTML editor or something like that.
Arlene has her hand up. Arlene?
Yeah, we have a website that's hosted on GoDaddy, and it seems to work on everybody's phone, iPhone, Android, and any browsers. We've never had anybody complain that they had a problem. So yeah, the stuff is ubiquitous.
It's a real pain to build a website without using one of these website generators, trying to code it yourself, unless you're a pretty good computer program. programmer, you don't want to attempt that sort of thing.
Well, one of our sons is a very good coder, but his girlfriend was very familiar with, I think it was Dreamweaver. And she built our current version. We're getting ready to rebuild it. Haven't decided who's going to get that job yet.
There was a day when I would have attempted it, but no longer.
No, I'm
It is-
sure it's going to be one of our next generation. Not me, not Pete.
Yeah, I was going to say it is much more complicated these days because of additional devices that didn't used to exist. So when we just had computers, there was basically a 4:3 aspect ratio, and that's what you built the web page to fit. Now there are tablets and smartphones, both in portrait and landscape mode, and that's what many of these tools built into things like the presentation showed, or GoDaddy's tools, will render that in the various different screen formats for you.
We originally built the website when computer screens were very small, and it somehow just scales, like I say, and it seems to work on everybody's phone or tablet. It works on my iPad. It works on my Android phone.
Arlene, would you like those who are here to be able to go and look at your website? If so, please
Sure.
tell us.
Anybody, it's blockdesk.com.
Beg pardon again?
Blockdesk.com.
Block,
B-
B-L-O-C-K?
BLOCKDESK.com.
Okay.
Remember the days of BBS? A long time ago.
And you all
Well,
know that the Seniors Computer Group website, of which I'm the webmaster, is SCGSD, the initials of Seniors Computer Group San Diego, .org, O-R-G.
May I suggest using the chat window?
What's that?
May I suggest using the chat window
Yeah,
for text?
yes. Would you put Block Desk down there, Barb?
It is.
If you open it, it's there.
It's there already. Yeah.
And I'll put the Seniors Computer Group there, although I think everybody knows it. Let's see. There we go.
Okay. Okay, we got some hands up.
Patience, Barb.
Okay, Don Raymond.
You muted.
Unmute.
There we go.
Okay, well, I'll try not to take much time, but I've built several websites, although I'm still a novice at it. And I use a company called Bizland, which provides all the various components of the web, such as web hosting and email management and domain name management and registrars and all that type stuff. I've built one for a car collection for a friend of mine who has over 40,000 model cars. I've built one for my rental property business. It shows all the houses associated with the rental properties, and you can go there and take a look at the properties and do a tour of the properties and that kind of stuff. So, you know, the web can be used for anything, and I've used Microsoft Expressions. Microsoft has their own HTML generator or website tool. The most interesting one and the most challenging one that I've done, and Hank's been part of this, is built a website for need to be used by people worldwide and transact business in multiple currencies. That got to be quite a challenge, but it was extremely successful. Hank and I have been in the Barbershop Harmony Association, and I put together a website that needed to take New Zealand dollars and Australian dollars and Japanese yen and British Columbia, and all that kind of stuff. So you can run into some tricky problems, but they're a constant evolving thing. It's not simple. I wish there was a much simpler process. It's simple to go in and run a wizard and generate a page. That's not the issue. But website, they have whole teams of people who manage websites. And it takes a lot. And anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, sir. Dan?
So
Yes, my first comment is the SCG website needs some work. It still refers to meetings at Wesley Palms, for one thing. And the reason I looked at the website was because last week I could not get a Zoom connection to this meeting. And I tried both ways, one with clicking on the link in the email, and one by going through with the address and password. And it just sat there with a loop saying connecting, and it never did connect. My concern here was, I'm wondering if they already had too many people on it, and we have 22 today. So I guess I don't know how many we had last week because I wasn't able to connect last week. So
Dan, I don't think connecting to Zoom has anything to do with the SCG's website.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking, the reason I was on SCG website was to look to see if you had a meeting last week. And it did have a recording of last week's meeting, which proved to me that there was a meeting. I just couldn't connect to it, right? So my concern was why I couldn't connect to the meeting last week. I don't know how many participants you had last week.
I think we had about 22.
If there was a limit. If there's a limit on the number of participants that you can have.
No.
Not on this Zoom account. I mean, there is, but it's probably 100 or more.
Dan, you're using what device to connect?
I was using the same device I use every week, which is a Chromebook.
Yeah, I'm just saying that the connection to a Zoom meeting could be due to other factors, including Zoom itself. Zoom itself could not be functioning.
Well, I considered that also, but I just wanted to throw that out that last week I was not able to attend the meeting because I couldn't connect through Zoom. And I don't know why, I just couldn't connect.
And you were using the web, you were using the link that Hank put out?
I tried the link that Hank put out on email, which I usually use. Then I tried putting in the address and the password for the Zoom meeting. And both times it asked me for my name, and then it just gave me the little circle spinning around and saying it was connecting, but it never did connect. And I'd sit there and let it run for half an hour or more, and I never did get a connection to the meeting. So
yeah, that's strictly a connectivity issue. It would either bring you to at least something to come up on the screen to let you know, even if the meeting hadn't started. But if you can't get that far, it's some other connectivity issue beyond the scope of anything we can answer.
Dan, I know you're using a shared computer, but I also see that Zoom has an Android. Oh, that's Android. I was thinking yours was Android, but it's Linux. If you could get a
No.
Linux app installed by the people who manage the computer, that would be a way to do it. But I was seeing Android, not Linux.
Excuse me, I'm using a Chrome box.
Okay. So could
I
you petition?
I was not using my Linux computer to do this. I was using a Chrome box, which I use every week and which I'm using right now to talk to you.
Okay.
And
Can you,
Ross, I think he's actually using a web browser client. He's not using an app on his computer.
I have better luck with customers if they use the app versus the web page. So that was what I was suggesting, is that you might be able to get the Zoom app for the Chrome box.
There is a Zoom connection on this box, and I did try that. And that's when I tried the address and the password to
So
make a connection.
you were able to log into Zoom through the Chrome app?
Yes.
Okay. No, that's.
So I don't know what the problem was, but I'm just throwing out information. My main concern was maybe there was a limit to the number of people I could connect, and it was already at the maximum, but I don't know that.
So
yeah, that was not the case, Dan.
Okay.
Don Raymond.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I believe I'm unmuted. I just thought of probably the most interesting website I developed, and we have some military people on here. And this will be an interesting thing. I was delighted in working with a bunch of old guys who are from the Quiet Birdman. I assume that any of you military guys or military jocks that are fighter pilots, ex-fighter pilots, know what I'm talking about. There's an organization of military fighter pilots that is called Quiet Birdman. And the reason a lot of people don't know it is they kind of keep it quiet. But you have to be fly a bomber or a fighter or something like that, and doesn't have to be in wartime. It just depends on when you're drafted or enlisted. But when I had an opportunity to give back a bit, and so I built a website for the Quiet Birdman, and it was in use for 4 or 5 years, and then they got the hang of it and decided to take it over and do it themselves. And I helped them with the domain stuff. So thank you for letting me say that.
Is that how you got connected with the Romeos?
No, I have invited a few people who are members of a Romeo group that I formed, which stands for Retired Old Men Eating Out. Okay. And so several of them are, Toby's a Quiet Bird Man, as an example. Ross Mickey was a Quiet Bird Man. He was also a Golden Eagle, he and John Glenn and a few other fighters, but pilots. There was only 100 people limited to that organization. Anyway, there's some crossover. There's a crossover in Romeos between military stuff and barbershop stuff and other interests that I have. And Toby is a good connection between the two of those. Retired Old Men Eating Out. There's several people on here who could join that group. Some of them wouldn't qualify, but the Romeos are quite interesting.
Don, while you're on, I had a question about, you said Microsoft has a web builder called Expressions. Is that correct?
Yes, it's for years it was, and I think it still is free. I'm not certain, but they put out they used to have one. What was it that was part of Microsoft Office? Somebody help me out.
I believe it was called Publisher.
Okay.
Or maybe not. I don't know. I know they used to have Front Page. I think that was a very old one.
Front page, yeah, front page was one I used a lot. And when Microsoft bailed on front page, they put out Microsoft Expressions, and Microsoft Expressions looks much more like a traditional browser, and not, I mean, a traditional web builder. But I have no preference. I don't recommend any of them, but you know, we've talked about several, and that's another couple that Microsoft's associated with.
Is it a free?
Last I used it, it was free. I haven't installed Expressions in about 4 years. I do maintain 3 or 4 or 5 websites that were built with Expressions, but my old version still works fine. I don't have the original version. I've had to upgrade a few times, but anyway.
One other question, Don. Are you able to put a database, I'm sure you can, up on a website?
Well, absolutely. You can put a database on a website. That's more challenging, but you need to do it correctly, and to do it right, you need to do it in SQL. And you can do it in SQL Express or full-blown SQL. But that's a retrieval technology. The most common one that all of you use associated with SQL is Google. You know, find me, Labrador retrievers, bam, you get a page full of stuff. It executes a SQL query, and has got a beautiful SQL engine that has made few people a lot of money. In fact, one of them bought the island of Lanai here in Hawaii. Okay, that just because he's down a company called Oracle. So you can put SQL, you can use SQL to manage your transactions on a website. You can also use Excel if you do it right and use a certain number of the correct features in there. But you can also put up a database on the web that is driven by Microsoft Access. That's all of these things come. That's why the people have careers in this stuff. All these are but all those will work.
I would use Access because I know that, but many years ago I could write SQL, but I'm not sure I can do it anymore.
Yeah, it's changed, and stuff you forget. And my SQL knowledge never got above a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10 before I said, "Hey, enough already."
Okay,
Thank you, Don.
Willie?
Yeah, since we're on the topic of alternates, I've used something called sites.google.com. So Google has its internal website generations thing. It's all free for the common user. I suppose there's commercial uses for it. And I've also used another one called Weebly, which is more of a photographic website. So you can post your photos and your artwork. And they're basically website generators, and they keep it. You get your own website I've only used the free versions, but I learned that in my photography class. We had to post a bunch of our homework assignments on our own website. And I talk about Mary Burns as a technology class. All of her class structure is done on sites.google.com. So everything she does, her whole lesson plan for the whole year, is all done on Google Sites.
Oh, what is her site again, Willie?
Well, I'll post it in the chat. It's too long to speak it. So
okay. Stanley.
Yes. Speaking of the chat and posting websites in it, I just discovered if you type in, as I did, blocktest.com and try to go to that, it doesn't work. SCGSD.org. Trying to copy that and dropping it in did not seem to work either. But if you highlight the URL in a browser and drop it into the chat, it will work. Now, maybe that's simply my incompetence that procedure did not work, but I'm just passing that on FYI.
I believe that's what we discussed when Dan was here on a prior week. He was using a web browser client for the Zoom meeting, and he could select content in the chat and copy it out of there and paste it where he wanted it.
Yeah, but when I tried to copy that blockdesk.com and drop it into a URL, it put something else in that came from a previous copy. And so I was just passing on that experience for what it's worth.
I think every week we go through this, Stan. In the APCUG Zoom account, they don't allow non-hosts to copy content out of the chat.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's
However-
right. All right.
Yeah.
Thank
However,
Saul.
if you put something into the chat that's formatted as a URL, it will become an active link and you can click on it.
Yes.
Correct.
You've got to put the www./ and yeah, Eddie, yes, thank you.
Okay, I see no more hands. Whoops. I lied. Hello, Pat.
Yes, I've got a question. Well, actually, now I have another one. Actually, I tried to use the chat to go to Hank directly, and it says he's not here. But I see that you are, so I'm just wondering what happened with that. That was the last question. That wasn't why I had my hand raised.
How
But I
would
just-
you go to me through the chat?
Yeah, a direct message instead of to everyone, to you. But for some reason or other, it's saying you're not here.
Pat, he's in there.
I know he's in there.
No, I mean, I see him. I see his name. I see everyone, Saul and Hank Drayton.
I'm just saying, when I went to send the direct message, it said he wasn't here.
Correct. And what I'm saying is I see it now in direct messaging. Try to
Pat,
You see my message?
I
You should-
believe, Pat, I believe Hank got dropped out temporarily because it looked like he did based on where his graphic icon was in the gallery view. And it might have been at that moment that Zoom still listed him, but you couldn't get to him. And then when he came back in, it might be working now.
Yes, it is now.
All right, well, I'll check it out.
It's called a glitch.
Yeah, that happens, I guess. I'm familiar with that. Okay, so the question was, is this kind of going back to Will's presentation about blogs? And I don't do blogs, haven't done blogs in years. A friend of mine had a blog years ago when she was traveling and couldn't access us except through this blog. So I was wondering, now Will said he invites people to his blog. So is that the only way to get on a blog, or how would you find a blog if you were looking for a blog on a particular subject? I've never done the blogging thing, sorry.
Google is your friend.
No, it's
Google
not.
is your friend.
No, it's not. No.
No, it really didn't help. That's why I thought is anybody here on a blog or doing a blog besides Will?
Guess not.
Yes.
It would depend on how the web page was listed. And I think that Will's way he lists he uses his web page, he does not have a DNS connection to the internet. He's going through that particular website. So if you went in and made your own web page up through a provider that allowed you then to have a DNS, domain name search, then you can search for those names or those items that you put into your DNS.
Okay, well, I'm not interested in doing a blog. I was interested more in how would I find a blog on a particular subject.
So with Will, he sends out an email, but then
Right.
that's how his friends find him. If it's for you saying, I just want to look for, then you would just put that into Google and say, looking for blog It has whatever it is that you're looking for.
Okay, I guess I can try that again. Didn't seem to work the last time, but okay, I can try it again. Is that that's the only way though? Is that it?
I don't know of, unless somebody else does, I don't know if you can say, here, show me a list of blogs.
I just typed, put in a chat window, an answer to the question. Just check your chat window for a recent one.
Oh yeah, okay.
Sharon?
Yeah, are you? I don't know if, is Pat finished?
Yeah, okay.
think so.
I got it. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Dan.
Okay, I just was going to say this week was very helpful for me because of these webinars that I go to. Because I go to these webinars, I'm learning to read some terms and conditions. And that took me by surprise when I went to my health plan. I have a Medicare Advantage plan, and they have some new offerings for 2023, 2024. I started reading the terms and conditions, and one of them is called Doctors on Demand, and they partner with this other agency. And reading into diving deep into it, I found out that you are allowing this other party that's in control of Doctors on Demand to track the URL that you went to before you went to their site and the URL you go to after their site. I would have never thought that. I would have never thought that all of the privacy that you're really giving up just by going to that. So I started reading that and started highlighting some of the ones in red and bold so I can read it later. So I'd like to say thanks to all these meetings that I go to learn about these little things, because there's stuff out there that is really quite frightening. And then I did put something in the chat about the Brain HQ. Brain HQ is offered by a lot of Medicare Advantage plans for free. So if I know Willie made the wonderful suggestion about going to San Diego Community College, but if you also can look in your own health plan, if you have Medicare Advantage, and look to see if they're offering it for 2024 for free. So I put some links in here to how to find out if they're offering it and what companies are in San Diego. So that's what I wanted to share this week. Thanks.
Hank, can you make a copy of the chat when we're done and make it available to us later on?
I don't know how, but
mine are hyperlinked.
I can save it, Will, and I could send it to Hank.
Okay, thank you.
What do you want me to do with it?
We can't make copies of that.
Will's just asking if you could email him a copy of the chat.
Just you, Will?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna lean on our leader and see if she can't allow copying our chat. That's
We've been there, done that, Will.
Again?
Well, it doesn't hurt to do it again.
Yeah, it does, because you're taking up time every week to talk about that. And so you need to find another way.
This is the workaround. The host can save it and email it to somebody if they want it.
Okay, I would like to get a copy of it. Could I just email Hank and request it?
Sure. If I have it.
When you've got it. Yeah, I'll give you time to get it. Okay. Thank you.
I'd like to insert here, back on our previous subjects about websites and web design and so forth. Will put up a very text-oriented website, which is one of the ways of choice, and that's the way blogs usually work. I put up a simple little one here in the chat. If you want to go to it, feel free. If you don't, it's meaningless to most people. But anyway, well, that's not true. It's very valuable to some people. But anyway, I put up one that's based on pictures and a different way of doing websites that I have done, that I maintain, that is very graphics oriented. I just posted it to everyone. I said, it's a simple website with pictures. And, anyway, that's another way of taking a look at something.
And I saw that Patricia put in the chat her San Diego penny pincher WordPress site. That's another example of what you could do with WordPress.
Actually, that's what I do.
What does that do,
But
Pat?
it's too long now. Well, actually, I had the question because it still says Hank Drayton, blah, 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 is not at this meeting. And that was when Hank was, I can see Hank and actually was hearing him at the time. So that's still there, but that's, I can do another time. Well, I also wanted to add that in the senior, well, not the senior computer group, but the classes from San Diego Community College also have a lot of free things for Brain HQ and Brain Fitness. They have classes on that. You can go to their Zoom meetings usually, but not necessarily. But
everyone, sorry, may I jump back in here for a minute about chat? I've just discovered that every week, the Zoom folder of my documents folder has a file called chat.txt, which is the text of all that has been put in the chat that week. So I can go back to any week and come up with the text file of the chat for that week and send it to anybody who wants it. So just, I think the most efficient way to do that is for me to announce that now and ask anyone who wants the chat anytime to send me an individual email asking for the chat from that week.
Good.
Anybody object to that?
Great idea.
I have a question. Can somebody else besides me text Hank and see what happens? Because it's still coming up. You're not there, Hank. I don't know why.
Patricia, when you do the drop down in the chat to find Hank, does it say the word host next to his name?
No, it says to Hank Drayton Win 10 Android, and then in parentheses red direct message.
Do you see another entry for Hank in there? Maybe scroll up and down.
Another entry for Hank.
Because that might be the old one before he got kicked out. Maybe he's listed more than once. I don't know. On mine, it does not show what you're saying.
Yeah, mine shows Hank Drayton, Win 10, Android host.
Mine too, and I sent a direct message to him. So did he get it?
Probably.
Well, Hank's here, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm here. Where should that show up if you send a direct message?
In the chat window, I sent a message to Hank saying, "Hi, Hank," to see if I could get it through to him. Did Hank receive a
There we go.
message?
This is direct to Hank. Yes, from
Yeah, that
Sandy
went to
Cole.
everyone.
No, my direct message actually did go through. I went through and scrolled down and found another Hank Drayton Win 10 blah blah blah, and I used that one. That one went through.
I don't read the chat. Sometimes I don't read the chat at all. So
Ooh, that's scary.
if you want something from me, send me an email to the email address that you get this invitation from. Don't try to find me through the chat.
Oh, okay. All right. I figured a direct message you'd get.
You know what's direct, Pat? Just speak up and talk to Hank. Bypass the chat.
And then he'll tell you to email him.
I mean, people talk to me about a lot of things. Like somebody is criticizing my performance as a webmaster for our website today.
Oh.
And I don't always react to everything that is said here.
Your website's fine, Hank. I went in there and put a positive thing that your website's fine. It's quite clear.
Thank you. My pay for webmaster obviously will be improved.
But I put it in the chat.
So I guess if I want to find something nice about myself, I should
Sure, look at the
read
chat.
the chat, huh? Read the chat, Henry.
I may be
Huh.
alone on this philosophy, but I like to treat Zoom meetings as close as possible to in-person meetings where there is no chat. Okay.
Oh, there's always
Actually,
chatting
there
in
is a
person. We're always
chat.
talking to the person next to us when we're sitting by them.
Yeah, but not to like the host of the meeting per se.
Well, you always could go up and talk to somebody without
Absolutely. You could raise your hand, whatever.
Yes,
idea.
afterward, not contemporaneously. Okay.
That's old school, Saul.
That's the school I like.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we get a lot of old school folks around here, I would say.
Are we into Q&A yet?
Yes. Let's see hands for Q&A.
Okay.
David McCall.
Yes, I found a interesting article, and I'm going to bring that up and share here. And this is one where I saw an article in the paper. There's a new scam out. It's called gift card draining. And what they do, which is sort of nasty, is some thieves, they come and take a bunch of these gift cards, take them home, look at the code on them, put them back in their things, put them back on the rack. Someone picks them up, goes to the counter and says, well, could you put $50 on it? I'm going to send it to my friend. And as soon as they do that, because the guy already has the code, he just takes that $50 and drains it and sends it overseas. And so this has been happening. So I just, be wary about anytime you pick up a gift card off of a rack and have someone put money onto it, inspect it really closely to make sure it doesn't look to be tampered with.
How do they scratch it off, David?
I don't know. It's technical, but apparently sometimes they just scratch it off and they don't put anything back on, or sometimes they'll take something, they'll put some tape back on it so it looks like you're taking it off for the first time. They say there's various things. They caught these guys and they had thousands of these cards in their van. And so it was one of these things that I hadn't heard of it. I just thought the rest of us should hear about it.
Yeah.
Do they create fake cards with their links?
I think what they do is they take them off the rack, they take them home, get the information so they can put them back on the rack. And then when you take it to the cash register and they put some money onto it, they already know the code to get the money out of it.
Wow.
And they just take that.
I read that article, David, and my remembrance of it, without reading what you just posted, is that they take those cards home and debit almost everything in it, so there's no value left, and then return it to the put it back in the packaging and return it to the store. And then somebody comes along and buys a card and it gets activated, but they don't realize there's no value left in it. And so they have stolen the cash out of the gift card.
Yeah.
And so the gift card does not get defaced in any way.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how to do it. There's probably different ways. There's cards that have a fixed value, and there's other cards that you take them up and say, could you put $25 on it or $50 onto this card?
Oh, yeah.
But but I think as soon as the card gets activated, the scammer goes in and pulls whatever money is there out of it.
Wow.
Okay.
And so and the question is, well, is there a safe way of doing this? Well, in the past, sometimes if I want an Amazon gift card or something, I'll order it through Amazon and have it sent to them. That way, there's no other person that gets their hands on it. I'm wary of the ones that are hanging on the racks.
You can also buy one through Costco if whatever gift cards they have available, because they don't put the cards themselves out. You have to go up after you purchase and then get that from a cage.
And that's probably why they have them in the cages now.
Sharon?
Yeah, I'll add to David's feedback. That's very interesting. I purchased for my family e-gift cards from the store. So that way they get it directly from that store, whether it's Walmart, Target, whatever, and it goes to them. However, my daughter shared with me, Mom, when you sent me the Target one, what a hassle. I couldn't take it to Target without creating an account. She had to set up a whole account just to take care of the e-gift card. So different companies have different ways of getting your advertising info. So just FYI, find out from your kids which one you sent them and how it worked.
I'll offer my opinion about gift cards. I don't do them. I either write a check or give them a greenback. I think gift cards in general are a scam because people do not use the final few dollars, and that's pure profit to the sale, or they buy additional and it increases the use. I may be old-fashioned, but I just don't do gift cards. Like I say, either write a check or give them cash.
Thank you, Stanley. I think I'm up. I'm up to talk about, to ask everyone here if they have been receiving alarming emails, long text emails, or maybe even long videos about how the whole financial world in the United States is going to come to a screeching halt, and you won't be able to get your Social Security check, and it's all because someone, usually evil President Biden, has established a new system for money called binary money or something like that. Has anyone else been getting these alarming things? I see several shaking heads and no nodding heads. Fascinating.
I've seen a few of these things, but they're in that category that I consider just junk, and so I throw them away without even reading anything.
Thank you. Mr. Wakely.
Yeah, finally, I'm new to cell phones and I'm having great problems even answering a call.
I can relate.
When you get a call that comes in and there's a green thing, I understand you just touch the green thing and swipe it, and that answers the call. But it doesn't seem to work. What am I doing wrong?
It depends on the phone, Will.
Yeah.
It's
Sometimes
an
you
Android.
touch.
I know exactly what Will's talking about. I know exactly what Will is talking about, and the answer is you got to swipe it effectively, and you just need to practice. You put your finger on it and slide your finger across the face of the phone, and that ought to do it. But sometimes it doesn't.
And sometimes you slide up to answer it, or sometimes you slide down, or sometimes you slide left or right. You got to look at your phone and figure out how it's done. And then, as Hank says, practice a little bit. Have someone give you a call where you can practice and figure out what makes it work. I've had problems where sometimes, I poke at it and the poke did something that I wasn't expected to. I should have put my finger on and then slide.
Okay, second question. Ringtones. When I click on ringtones, it brings up the current ringtone, but I can't change it to anything.
611.
Okay.
Because again, it's all dependent upon your particular phone and the particular version of the OS that's on there, as far as how you go into the settings and change that. But 611 should be able to say, okay, you have model X23, this is what you need to do.
I was hoping that it was more general.
611.
One other thing is go into the store go into the store, the AT&T or Verizon store, and tell them this thing don't work, make it work.
I've been told that's a really bad idea because everybody in that store is motivated to sell you something.
Sell you something.
Nobody is in that store is being paid for customer service. But
Exactly.
611 is being paid for customer service.
Exactly.
My experience has been that it works. They're very patient with me. Found AT&T stores and Verizon. I used to have Verizon, now I have AT&T. And they're very patient and very tolerant of my age.
I downloaded the manual, which was 142 pages.
It's easier to Google than to find things in the manual is what I do. I don't look through manuals anymore. I just Google it and I get the answer right away. But I was going to say, Will, you could go, I think, aren't you over in PB area? La Jolla has a library where you can go and do all that stuff too.
Probably so, yeah.
Yeah, PB's got a great library too.
We had
Very helpful people in Pacific Beach.
I bought this manual and I haven't used it. It's just too much.
Dan has his hand has had his hand up for a while. Dan?
Yeah. Yeah, Will, I was going to say, for the ringtones, I've mostly seen them when you are putting a contact in your phone. That's where you can set the ring that particular contact will make when they call. And so that's where I think you should be looking. But they're quite right. Call 611 and they'll tell you how your version of your phone should work.
Okay, thank you. Dan has his hand up first. Dan?
Yes. I want to make a comment on gift cards. The state sent me a card for some kind of tax refund or whatever. I forget what it was now, or incentive. And in order to use that card, every time you used it, it cost you $1.75 or somewhere along there.
Yep.
So, and it had I think it was $350 on it. And so I brought it to my bank. He said, no, they wouldn't cash it, but I could stick it in the ATM and get $20 less than was on the card because they gave me $20 bills and they would charge me the fee at the ATM. So it would be less than 20 and I couldn't get the last part of the ATM, the money out of it, unless I went somewhere else. So I finally went to Walmart, and Walmart had a money center in there, and I went to the money center, and they said, "Yeah, we'll cash it for you, and we're just going to charge you for the one fee. How much is on it?" And I said, "Well, tell me how much is on it." They said, "We can't tell you how much is on it. We don't know, but we'll give you whatever you ask for, but minus the fees." So I said, "Well, they tell me it's $350. So give me the $350 minus the $1.75 or whatever it was." So they did that and I ended up getting my money, but it was quite a hassle.
Wow.
And if you used it to go through a checkout lane, and you buy $3 or $4 worth of something, then every time you use it, it costs you another $1.75. So that was a ridiculous situation, and it was handled by an outside company who made a fortune, I guess. But those are some of the things and some of the reasons not to deal with gift cards.
David?
Yeah, I think I remember those gift cards. And when I got mine, I went up to the site and basically they said, okay, there's so much in the gift card, and there was an option to have it transferred over to my bank account, where I basically emptied the card, moved it into my bank account. And maybe there was a charge for that, but that worked pretty straightforwardly. And I did it from on home, and I could see the money in my bank account that then I can use the way I use everything else.
Well, I had
What did you
difficulty
do,
with
David?
that because I couldn't prove who I was. And they wanted some various unassorted information. And I finally got fed up and just decided to cash the gift card. And I went, like I said, Walmart worked.
Yeah, I've gotten used to being able to verify who I am. And since you are appearing as Dan 2 today, I'm not sure where Dan 1 went.
Well, what I did was I tried to sign on twice because I wanted to see if the maximum was 22. So when I tried to sign on the second time, it replaced the first time.
Understood. Good explanation.
I recognize Dan's voice, no matter how many numbers he has on his screen. Miriam.
Yes, I would like to say something about this business of getting help. There is a website called gethuman.com. And most of the time, if I need help, I've really gotten myself into some kind of trouble that the call director isn't going to help me with, or the FAQs aren't going to help. So I tried gethuman.com. And for one of the websites, it was very helpful. I got a human, and this person spoke decent English, not perfect, but I could understand her, and the problem got resolved. But for another one, there was nothing on Get Human, but I Googled enough that eventually I got a phone number, and I got customer service. I think it was for YouTube TV. And I got a person, and they helped me solve my problem. So, but I did want to say that gethuman.com is worth a try.
Are they really dead?
Who's dead?
I thought you said dead humans, DEAD?
No, get, G-E-T.
Get, G-E-T.
I think Miriam is saying that you can get a phone number for a company and call them and get a human being to help you.
Okay,
That's
what was
right.
the
That's
first
what
word?
it is.
Spell the first word.
G-E-T.
Oh, get human. All right, gotcha.
Yeah, gethuman.com.
George Echo Tango, Will.
Got it. Thank you.
Really?
Yeah, since we were talking about help stores, I had to take back my cable box to the Spectrum store because I was kind of late trying to ship it back. When I went back there, they were trying to sell me their Zumo box, which is a replacement for the cable box. It's now going to be streaming in the future. But the guy ended up saving me about $60 a month on my bill because he said, "Hey, if you bundle in your phone and this and that," it was actually quite helpful. I wasn't planning to get any kind of a deal, but salesman as he was, I'm sure he got a great commission on that. But I saved $50 a month, so
Nice.
something positive. Now I have a phone number I don't need to use, but I have it.
I missed on how you got to save $50.
Well, I was in the store because they have a display area in there, and the guy was trying to sell me the Zumo box, which is a streaming box, which is going to replace the cable box that I normally had. And he kept saying, "Well, you pay $10 a month for this box. You can buy the Zumo box for $60, and all you do is stream, and then the box is free." But it turns out you still have to have all the cable channels if you want to stream their channels. So it didn't make any difference dollar-wise. Then I said, "No, I'm not interested." And he said, "Well, what do you pay now? Let me look up your bill." He looked up my bill and he says, "I could save you $50 a month if you bundle phone along with internet, along with cable, and this and that." I don't have an internet phone, but now I do. Because of the bundle price, it was $50 less than not having a bundle. So we talked about this before, that if you get bundle deals, it's only good for a year.
Right.
But-
It's a contract then.
Yeah, and then 12
Okay.
months they have to redo it. The guy says, "Well, you save $600, 6 times 12, $50 a month times 12 months, so it's $600."
But if you don't do something on the anniversary of that 12 months,
Jacks
you're
up.
probably going to end up more than you were originally paying for the next 20 years.
It will. Well, yeah, I won't let it go 20 years, but I have it on my calendar.
Which is why
I'm
about
91 and a half. I don't buy green bananas or talk
Yeah.
about 20 years.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's good to hear people laugh after I say something. Yes, Will.
Yeah, I look further into Stanley's Brain Builder program, which I never remember the name of. But anyway, if you go on their site, they do have a special deal for 1 year for, I think, $38 rather than $100 a year. And you don't have to have multiple people on it. So I may take advantage of that. And I wanted to tell you folks about, we could have done one with 5 people for $20 a year, or I think it was $25 for 2 years or something. Anyway, you can go on and get an individual one for about $38, as I recall, for the year. And I meant to sign up for it, and I haven't done it yet, but that's my New Year's resolution. Thanks, Stanley, for telling me about it. Again, what's the name of that program, Stanley?
It is Lumosity.
Lumosity. Okay, if I write it down enough times.
Lumosity.
Okay, if I
And
write
It's
it
in
down
the
enough,
chat.
I'll
It's
remember.
in the chat.
And if you have a word program, it'll probably spell corrected to luminosity.
Yes. I had to correct that.
I
don't know
see
if
no
I
more
said this
hands
last
up.
week, but I was asking someone about how they memorize things, and he said, well, there was I think I already said this, but there were 40 guys and they sat in a circle, and the first guy announced his name and a couple of other things, birthday, whatever. And then the second person had to repeat what the first person said and add his. And as it went around, each person had to repeat what number 1 did, number 2 did, number 3 did. And it got all the way around to 40, and the 40th person could do it. He could repeat all 40 names, etc. And the answer is, if you hear it enough times, you remember it.
No.
Fascinating.
See you next year, people.
Yes.
Have a good one.
Take care, all.
And anyone who wants a copy of the chat, send me an email.
Oh,
Bye.
all righty. Bye.